Now, some of you are getting your first taste of what it's like to be in a crypto bull run, or at least at the start of such, where we have these massive 60, 70% gains in a single altcoin like the one I'm going to show you in just a second here. And so I thought it's absolutely imperative, guys, to get down a clear exit plan. Some of you already are feeling the emotions. Oh, I've got FOMO. Should I keep buying more of this altcoin? Hey, this altcoin's up 20, 30, 40%. I didn't want to buy it last week when it was down, but I want to buy it now. Or you're just simply someone who wants to maybe sell some of your positions in an altcoin when in reality, it probably isn't good to do so, at least this early. So this video is going to be the complete easy hack to save you so much damn stress. You're going to have to experience it yourself if you're someone who doesn't think this is an important video to watch. I'm going to give you an easy hack though. I'm going to make this actually very easy for you guys to manage so you don't have to worry about all the stress and tribulations that come along with being a bit more prepared. Now, I want to show you guys an altcoin first that has done exactly that. Now, it says up 49%. It's actually a little bit more. Well, it's just come literally straight down a little bit now, but it was up about 60, 70% as of a few minutes ago. And that's one I've been preaching on this channel for a long time now, since well before the bear market, but the entire bear market. It's Mina protocol. I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys, hey, it's up 70%, guess I was right. No, it's got a long way to still go, but this is going to show you the explosive potential that we can see here. And this is going to be one of those prime examples where some of you are looking at this, Chainlink, Solana, a whole host of other altcoins as well that have gone up substantially, more than 20, 30%, and you're probably second guessing yourself. So again, it's the easy hack, it's the easy guide. Let's get this shit done properly, guys, because I don't want any of you squandering this opportunity. You've all seen the videos where I talk about how important it is to make the most amount of money in 2025, and this should give you the answers to, well, a big half of the question, which is essentially, when do I sell, right? This is an easy hack anyone can use to sell all altcoins for maximum profit. Very important, remember, max profit here, whilst remaining as safe as possible. It's very important we remain safe as possible, or we're just gambling at this point, right? So when do we know when to sell in the first place? This is one half of the problem, okay? This can be very, very difficult, so let's make it easy, all right? Now, I like to talk about this sheet, or both of these things here quite a bit on the channel. I'm not gonna bore you with the details. We have a little bit of stuff to go through today, but this just goes to show you how projects pump, right? This is Cardano versus Bitcoin's price. Now, you'll notice that Cardano actually pumped at different times, right? If we kind of move these two boxes over here, it pumped way over here, and it also pumped over here. So they actually are for a reason. And then just point that, they weren't just random pumps. One, because of something I call popularity, right? Popularity can be better described as announcements, sudden bullish announcements that get in the wider community, and also roadmap events, things that we can foresee happening, but people don't like to buy the rumor of because there's no immediate gratification for such. We live in that type of world, of course, as you all know. So the next thing it pumped over here was from its narrative. This is where we have to focus, guys. These two aspects. The narrative is important because that's when all the altcoins, or most of the altcoins in a particular narrative, or for example, this is layer one, will pump at the same time. What we are looking for as well is the meme in terms of the velocity. What I mean by this is like, what's that wow factor with the project, right? The meme is the second thing we look at here. And if the project is particularly wow, like in the case of Mina protocol, which again, I've been screaming at people to be, not financially advising, buying over the bear market because it is so wow. It's so unique and it's in so many awesome narratives, okay? And we're starting to see the result of such. It's like one of the biggest gainer, or the biggest gainer right now, okay? So we're looking for these things because when a narrative pops off, when a particular announcement is announced and people go, oh, I haven't heard of Mina before, let's look into this, and they see all this cool, amazing stuff, they're going to want to keep buying it. And that's the meme mixed in with the other stuff I talk about as well. So this is particularly important for a speculation environment, which is for 2025. Now, if I just continue on this little conversation here as well, this is XDC as well. So XDC is another layer one network, and you'll find, again, just to confirm, the layer one narrative did pop off at the same time, okay? So you can see Bitcoin's top is here, Bitcoin's top is here. They popped off at the exact same time. I'm going to show you guys an example in a second here. You'll also notice that, roughly speaking, they popped off in popularity at the same time as well. It wasn't a narrative. No, it was not a narrative at all. They're actually very different. So you'll see the top of XDC here, when Bitcoin peaked in this first bit over here, XDC popularity went up, whereas in Cardano, it didn't, right? So while it looks very similar, while the two little peaks look like they're maybe a day apart, this is very much so a few months apart, okay? So don't get that confused. They did peak at different times there. Nevertheless, that was because of a recent, like an announcement or popularity, like so a roadmap event, for example, right? This is when we sell. So these two moments here are when we sell, and as I'm going to touch on in a second, I like to look at the layer one narrative, or at least the narrative is what I'm trying to say here when we're looking to sell, okay? So I want to move on here. If you need the proof that the narratives pump together, if you're someone like, this no BS crypto guy, what's he talking about? It works in the waterfall effect. Bitcoin, Ethereum, large alts, small alts. It sells, buy, sell, buy. Guys, doesn't work like that, and it's not going to work like that exactly because, as you'll see in this example, I've touched on this many times before, I've grouped in different altcoins from different narratives, right from DeFi to IoT to layer ones to payments, and you will find they peak together. Now, as I touch on in multiple examples here, if you are someone, for example, looks to sell but Bitcoin's at its peak, at least all your altcoins together, you're going to be very disappointed, like we see over here with payments, right? Payments like XDC and XLM, they peak at different times. So if you were waiting for Bitcoin to peak over here at $69,000, you would have been selling at a substantial loss compared to what you could have. So again, we're just making the point here that narratives are what you're looking for, not Bitcoin, okay? Bitcoin, yes, does help overall, like I mentioned down here. Bitcoin still drives to general sentiment, okay, in the direction, are we bullish, are we fearful, are we greedy, just like good old CoinMarketCap likes to highlight over here, the fear and greed index. It drives the fear and greed index, but in terms of this waterfall effect that people like to praise all the time, well, it still somewhat works, in generally speaking. You're not going to find Bitcoin crashing and altcoins pumping like that. It doesn't necessarily work like that anymore. Again, to some degree it does, but not entirely. We have to follow this narrative. Like we can see here, XDC, HBAR, Algorand, ADA, they all pumped at the same damn time. Now, I've actually lined all of these charts up. So all these charts are in exact order for when Bitcoin topped. So while they look ajar like this here, that's for a reason. They're all dated between these 2 points and they all line up perfectly with Bitcoin's top, okay? So don't get me wrong, you can see the difference here, right? You can most definitely tell that, hey, look, layer one's pumped just before the Bitcoin top, whereas if we go down here to gaming actually pumped after Bitcoin's 69,000 top in the last bull run, all right? It's kind of freaky. And we have to pay attention to this. And this is how we're going to play into the easy hack to sell your altcoins. We have to fundamentally understand this, because if we don't, we aren't going to be selling at the right times. There is a lot of if then that statements. For example, if your altcoin's pumping, right, but it's like a narrative pump, and I believe narrative pumps are the strongest aside from anything else that happens, news, good or bad, any sort of external factors to do with Bitcoin ETFs. Nothing is more powerful for a project than a specific narrative pumping. For example, if gaming pumps, you're going to find a lot of money coming in because the whole market gravitates to that specific area. And with this, again, we can kind of decide on when it's time to, begin selling, right? And again, so we have to kind of wait for that moment. So again, I'll explain more in a second here. Now that we know when to sell, how do we actually take advantage from max profit? I'll be doing this for you on 30 plus altcoins when my website is live. It's very easy to do though. So again, if you guys want to, it won't be very expensive, 10, 15 bucks a month, something of the sort. You'll have access to, and I will continue to work on that, at least initially 30 plus altcoins. You guys can go in and have all this done for you. You just have to copy it if you want to. That's it, right? So before we get into it, of course, we have to understand a very basic principle here, and that's percentages, or at least that's dollar cost averaging and ladder selling. I always talk about this in my exit strategy videos, but you have to understand it. That's why I'm making this particular sheet free for you guys down below, all right? So you have the different examples here, person A and person B. Disregard what person A does. This is just trying to show you guys that if you're someone who is person A and who is trying to bulk buy the bottom and bulk sell the top, yes, you might get a pretty good return, I'll admit, even if we can stretch over here, right? Even if you get very close to time in the bottom and you even ladder sell and, separate those sells into two different points at the top, you're getting quite a good result. You're getting a 6x, again, in this example. But if you're someone like person B who buys average down and then mixes it with this example here and sells average up, well, guess what? You get the most amount of returns. You will profit the most amount, and again, in the most secure way possible. And I'm going to show you how to plot that in a second here. I suggest you guys go ahead and read this, by the way. I've made this so, in depth just for you to go ahead and learn yourself. So here's what I'm doing. Again, ladder buying on the way down rather. No matter what happens in between, I'm going to ladder sell on the way up. And it's very important we do this because it takes a complete guesswork out of crypto. It takes all the stress, all the woes, worries, looking on your portfolio. Trust me right now, you will be thankful you do this. And again, it's important we revisit this in multiple different stages coming up in the future. So here's an example I did recently with Near Protocol. For those who don't know, Near Protocol is one of the altcoins that is in our $5,000 community portfolio, which I'm giving away to one of you guys at the height of the bull run. I'm expecting that to be anywhere between $100,000 to $300,000. And Near is one of those. So I made this a while back, but I reconfigured it to be more understanding so you guys can get a better picture of what it's like. So in this example over here, right, since Near Protocol is about $1 right now, and it was very recently, I don't know about right now, it could be a lot more, but in the example, you spent $1,000, right? And you purchased 1,000 Near tokens. This is what we're running with. And so what we're doing here is essentially finding a place or a point where we take our minimum investment out. So again, right here's where we are. And if that's $1, okay, well, I'm going to say a minimum of 7x is when we'll take our initial investment out. This means we're clawing back our $1,000 investment, and whatever amount of tokens we're left with is what we'll use to then sell. And this is very important because what we're saying here is we're securing our investment, and then anything apart from over that is profit. It's pure profit, okay? And this is where planning it exactly like this is going to allow you to do a few things. I don't care if you write it on a piece of paper or not. You know, a piece of feather and pen. It doesn't matter, right? What matters is that you have these key levels written down with the expected amount of profit you are going to receive. That way you can go, okay, and as I done with this example over here, we can turn $1,000 into $21,000 by just selling at these key levels. You set the sell orders, Bob's your uncle. Now, obviously on this page, I've given you a little bit more information, right? I've made sure that you guys can understand it on a very visual level. You know, selling initially at $7, then $17.50. Whoa, hang on. That's a $10.50 gap, Karen. What are you talking about? $10.50? That's crazy. Well, there's a reason why we sell at $7. It's because there is a lot of support and resistance at this level, and so too at $17.50, okay? It doesn't look like it as much on this chart, but when you pull up the trading view chart and you have the wicks and you can see everything with the opens and the closes, it makes more sense, all right? So the strategic reason why we've done that there, and then of course we're selling in multiples of 4 past that point. So 25% sold over here, 25% sold over here, and here, and here. Done. That's it. You know how much you're getting out. Now, again, remember, this is something we must revisit multiple times. So while it's an easy hack, again, you could do all your altcoins in a day, less than a day. I've given you guys examples of how to do this on a previous video. I might link that down below. I've given you ChatGPT prompts to do all this working out for you. You just punch the numbers in, Bob's your uncle. But again, it's very important we revisit, because what this looks like right now for Near Protocol might be completely different in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. Right? For example, our minimum sell level might then rise to $17.50 if Near Protocol is showing signs it's very, very strong around this level. It's going to completely depend. Nevertheless, the bull run is starting. And here's the definite kicker, right? Here's the part where a lot of you guys might enjoy. So at the very end, right, the last 25%, this right here, okay, we're left with the decision on whether we should hold it, okay, and, you know, gain from explosive results, or if we should sell, like in the example here. So the first example, I've said selling at $31.50, the last 25%. So the last Near in our portfolio, we now have zero Near Protocol. Right over here, we could decide to hold it instead from the second last 25% level, right over here. Hold on to those tokens and play it by ear. It all does depend, but the beauty of what I like to teach on the channel is that you want to be doing this with the altcoins that, in the worst case, if you are stuck holding these tokens until 2030 or beyond, because I think 2030 might not really be a bull run as much as we think it will be, it's okay. You're holding a very, quality asset. You're not holding a crap coin. You're not holding a coin that's got a 50-50 chance of making it. You're holding something you can wholeheartedly believe in. And that's why I look at these altcoins in particular, okay? And with that being said, there's another question you might be having to yourself. Well, what if I sell Kyron in the first run-up and miss a lot of gains? Well, I'm going to read this verbatim for you. Who cares if you sell everything in the first run-up? You know exactly how much money you've made, and if you're happy about this, then don't be someone who thinks, what if? I have a friend, I think I mentioned it in this example over here. I have a friend like that, right? I was doing all the work for him in the last bull run. He never wanted to put any work into research and things like that. And he ended up selling too early because I didn't tell him to hold or to sell. He just decided to sell. And he made a good 4x, but the altcoin went to like a 15x. And he was crying and crying and crying and crying about it. And I said to him, look, you made a 4x. People can't do that in the stock market in 10 years, 20 years. And you made it in, less than 12 months. So you should be bloody happy about it. So I hear a lot of people saying to me, Kyle, what if we sell over here? What if, say for example, Near Protocol goes 2x when we last sold. What about that? Well, again, the beautiful thing about doing it like this is that we know exactly how much we're getting out. I'm sorry, but if you're someone who's not happy with the 21x at the end of the day, then I'm sorry, there's a very much amount of greed running through your veins. That's extremely bad. That's why we obviously, of course, revisit this as well. It's a bit of a two birds, one stone situation. Besides, if we leave 25% on the table for exponential returns, depending on whether the altcoins have hit their narrative peak, right? So essentially, again, you can decide to leave that 25% in. That might be a bit of a gamble for you. That might pique your interest if you're one of those people. This will all change as the altcoin progresses throughout the coming bull cycle. These numbers could be completely different in the next 6, 12, 18 months. 20 bucks, for example, near might be unrealistic. That's why we must be on our toes. It all depends, good or bad. I believe that a narrative peak is when we should all be making sure we have sold 100%, even if news pushes the price higher or there is a secondary narrative pump later on in the cycle. Why? We want secured higher returns. We aren't gamblers. So just like I showed you guys way back over here, we want to sell on the narratives. We don't want to sell on the odd occasional peak with the news that might come out of the project. We want to sell on the narrative. And there is a high chance this bull run we will see multiple narrative run-ups for each altcoin, okay? We don't care. If we sell it all in the first one, that is absolutely fine, okay? Because that's what we're looking for here. Again, we could make an extra 5, 6, 10x. It don't matter. If you're happy, you're happy. If you're not, chances are you're buying cheaper altcoins or smaller micro caps. So guys, with that said, again, I'll make this available for you to download and to view. It's very important you take the time to do it now, since a lot of you are probably panicking a little bit with terms of like preparedness, okay? So with that said, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye.